Let's start this new game.
All right. There was a very singular echo in this ravine. The rattling of wagons resembled carpenters hammering at boards inside the highest rocks. Something about a rifle. The lowing of the cattle and braying of the mule seemed to be answering beyond the mountains. Music most notably had to a very queer effect that resembled a person standing inside the rock, imitating everything.
It doesn't leave you a whole lot of time to read it, does it?
Nope. Okay, we're getting a call from mom, so I guess we'll answer it. No, God, I can't deal with this right now. I stare at the screen, letting my phone vibrate until it stops. I'll try to make up an excuse that it was on silent later. I'd been a cringing, flustered mess since this morning. School and my geometry test had kept me only slightly distracted. With the call as a reminder, I feel a welling sensation around my eyes and my vision blurs. I suck in my cheeks before exuding a shaky exhale. Okay, that's radio. Nothing will ever be the same anymore. My parents won't see me as normal anymore. All because I was daft enough to try to rub one out on the computer before the bus came this morning. I thought they were at work. Mom usually is out by 5 and Dad by 6. But they took the day off on account of their anniversary. So not only did they catch me pants down, prick in hand, but also found out I was gay in one fell swoop, a headphone induced lack of spatial awareness. I heard Mom scream. I was so startled I jumped. Headphones coming unplugged from the laptop, blasting Fox Stallion porn on full blast. Just when my dad came running in. I remember Mom turned, went to her room, locked the door, and I didn't see her again before I left. Dad, meanwhile, was sort of laughing nervously before I took off to my bus stop. But I could tell from his face that this was beyond awkward for him. Couldn't bring myself to words. I just pulled up my shorts and ran to my bus stop. All throughout the day, thought of coming home and having to face the shame was like being drunk. It was like being dunked in ice water. Each mile we each mile we travel closer to Echo increases that feeling of inevitable awfulness. I try to go over excuses in my head. I could maybe attempt to convince them it was straight porn. I mean, they totally don't know about Control H and uh and the history tab. Both of the guys in the video had pretty visible beard scruff, though. I rub my eyes. The thought of trying to figure out what all my folks saw on the screen makes me want to retch. Well, I could say it was a virus that took control of my browser window, and it was so startling a prospect that I didn't have time to fully put on my shorts, and the erection was unrelated. Fuck. I peeked through my paws at my phone screen, the symbol of a missed voicemail having appeared up top. I gripped my teeth in extreme apprehension, turning the screen off and shoving my phone back into my pocket. Taking a moment to recombobulate, I look around. The bus is pretty empty besides me. The bus driver, whom has been trying to get the radio to work the whole ride, and Carl in the seat adjacent to me. Hold on, you mean that Carl's not going to a private school? His family's super, super rich. Why is he going to a public school?
That's a good point. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Anyway, Carl, as usual, has his earbuds in with his expensive handheld out, playing some Japanese tactics RPG. Usually, we have at least Jeremy, Clint, Heather, Jasmine, and TJ with us, but not today. How many kids who go to the school in Peyton live out in Echo? I'm pretty astonished the bus district expansion covered our town. The bus ride from Peyton to Echo usually takes about 45 minutes, though it feels much longer. Especially now. November 1st, 2008, Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
The Ram looks up from his game to the source of the music, slightly furrowed-browed. This is actually kind of loud.
Kind of is, huh?
Okay, I had to turn that down. Our bus driver grins back at him through the rear mirror as in a self-satisfied fashion. Her gummy Cheshire maw is on full yet brief display. Oh, good. I think I've got it pushed down enough. It's like -30, which is ridiculous. Realizing that she is looking back at him, Carl grunts, hunching his shoulders a bit.
Karen, why?
She lets out a brief chortle.
Well,
Go for it.
well, seeing as I only have you two along with me today, I thought I'd put on some tunes. Make your color a little blue.
Carl begrudgingly pauses his game, pulling out his earbuds and letting them hang over his horns. It was still weird seeing him like this. Around age 14, his horns developed a lot. He complained about headaches and neck strain constantly. He told me he had to see a chiropractor and stayed over because his horns were so big. His neck muscles hadn't developed enough to support them. Even now, a year later, he still sits with a sort of low, hunched posture.
I'm plenty blue-collared, yeah? I live in Echo.
She smirks again.
Boy, I have seen the size of your manner. No, you ain't. Never would have expected a sort like you to be so pumped and yachty-blooded.
Carl doesn't say anything. His emerald gaze shifts some to the seat in front of him. Karen takes a glug from her soda bottle with her free hand, the other steering us through an on-ramp onto the freeway.
The small day I would have on just 1 hour of your daddy's income. I feel bad for whoever works mani-pedi that shift.
She holds up her calloused right hand, her claws rather stubbed, even for a fox's standard.
When I'm not driving you squirts, I'm doing road crew for public works. Ain't your average mom, eh?
She gesticulates with a swirling motion as she speaks, then lets her hand hang limply on the steering wheel.
Well, I might be the new average here soon enough. Feminism and all that. You two will learn all about it in college, I'm sure. What are you two going for, major-wise?
Both of us make no quick move to respond.
Chase?
I shift some in my seat, clearing my throat so my voice doesn't crack. Well, I wanted to go into videography. Videography? And film. Videography? But my parents weren't too fond of that, so I guess journalism or communications?
Ah.
Karen responds so abruptly that it makes me wonder if I said something wrong.
Well, my nephew got one of them communication degrees from North Mountain State.
Oh, how'd that go?
Ended up being a $60,000 piece of paper that earns him $13.25 an hour fixing old farts like us's computers out of some big box establishment. Nerd Squad, I think they're called. Hell if I know.
I'm still deciding, I guess. She waves dismissively. I look over at Carl, who looks like all he wants to do is go back to playing his game.
What about you, big horns?
Carl blinks some at the casual speciesism, then scratches the back of his neck.
You just plan on going straight to work for your daddy right after you graduate?
Mommy, Mom, actually, I don't know yet.
Carl looks pretty uneasy with this topic. 1 second. I'm going to turn down this music. I'll put it at 50%. Because that is loud as hell. Okay, that's about where it should be. Carl looks pretty uneasy with this topic. He also seems pretty embarrassed at having said mommy out loud. Mommy?
Mommy!
Were I in better spirits, I'd probably laugh.
Mama!
It's like Tenchi Muyo. Mama!
Mama!
If she doesn't say it, her mom will get pissed at her. She's like the galactic queen
Yeah.
or something.
Everyone is good at something, Carl. And hopefully that is something you enjoy, too. You're always quiet with your nose in that little device of yours playing games. Maybe that's your future career, something tacky?
Admittedly, Leo's usually the one who is most handy with fixing our tech stuff. Carl isn't even the best at video games. That title belongs to Jazz. Carl is quiet for a bit, tugging on the strings of his hoodie.
I don't know.
Looking out the window, I see the sun is setting as we get within 10 or so miles of Echo. We pass the old abandoned water park, which I heard closed shortly after the bypass was built and all its passerby traffic was lost. I think for a moment I see what looks like some figures in the drained pool, though when I try to squint I don't see them anymore.
You know, I was around when that place shut down.
I startle some, not realizing I was being watched.
Both times, actually. Once in the 60s, then again in the 80s when it reopened for a year. Was during the era of big government giving out big old water project constructions to the state for pennies. LA being the golden child. Our county, as you two squirts are aware, did not become the next Orange County. Spoilers, as my son Keith used to say.
She lets out an amused grunt before sterning up some.
A lot of folks lost their jobs. It was like a little Great Depression in the middle of Mormon land. Echo has been going to tits for generations, though. And not the good sort of tits either. The real ugly ones. Like those that, what's her name, wields? Miss Tethers? Yeah, her.
The ones that sort of like drag the ground as she's
Yeah.
walking.
Have powder. It's how they get powdered milk.
Mm-hmm.
It's not actual formula.
Yep, pretty much. I'm taken off guard at her comments. Miss Tethers is a particularly nasty history teacher at PHS, who is known for not being too keen on vulpines. She does have a kind of lopsided pair.
Anyway, it is a ripe shame. By the time your kiddies are having kitties themselves, this town will be a feast for termites. Well, maybe not the manor.
I see Karen's silver eyes focus on Carl.
The castle, as we used to call it.
She says this a bit rather strangely, as if trying to remember something specific. Carl is staring out the window, avoiding Karen's stare. In the 2 years since we've had her as a bus driver, she's never spoken this much. Most of the time, she'd just be scolding Jeremy and Clint. I have this feeling she's been waiting for this opportunity to speak more personally with Carl for a while. As we get closer to Echo, we pass more abandoned places. Some are adorned with faded Art Deco stylings from the bygone modern era, whilst others are but rotting wood from the Mormon settlement days. In my current situation, all these familiar architectural fadings seem to evoke a pulsating sense of dread for what is to come.
Carl, your family has been here for over a century. Way I see it, least they could do is reinvest in what they capitalized on in the first place.
Can you just change the radio station?
Carl's horns are pressed up against the window, his tone low but his voice loud.
Oh, yeah? What do you want to set to?
Anything but this.
Carl looks down at his handheld, fidgeting with stuff in the character screen, but without the focus to actually keep playing.
Fine. What do you want to listen to, Chase?
We go with country, we'll just piss him off.
You know,
I have a feeling that her answer is just going to be mocking us.
So, what do you want to click on? I've never clicked on country.
Let's go with techno.
No?
no.
I don't know. If you have a good radio, we might be able to get that hard bassy techno station on 95.9, 95.5 FM.
What'd you say? You want this but louder?
No.
No.
Chase. Kill me. End my life. Maybe I'll respawn somewhere more peaceful.
This is good for you, Carl. You're getting blue-collared, albeit, the hard way.
If I wanted to get blue-collared the hard way, I'd borrow Jasmine's jeans shorts and stand assumingly around the motel.
Covering our ears and pressing our heads to the seats in front of us, we endure the hick musical cavalcade, as Jasmine deemed this station. Glancing sidelong out the bus window, I see that we're less than a mile from home. My paw pads start to feel clammy as I clutch my knees tight. It's fortunate that Carl is currently occupied with burying his muzzle into the faux leather of the seat in front of him as I begin to tremble. Part of me actually wants him to see. I know it's just stalling for the inevitable, but I want to talk to someone, anyone about this. This is a small town, and whoever I speak to will know that I like guys, and I have to deal with them knowing that fact every day till college. If I go to college. I used to hate being so damn generic. Fucking Flynn. Whines about how boring I am all the time, but now all I can see are folks looking at me, seeing me as that otter who likes it up the rear and not as a generic Chase. God. That's what my parents will see me as, too. This sort of deviant who lives in their home. I imagine them looking at photos of me around the house now and wishing they could have had that back. They could have that back. I've never really talked to my parents about relationships and sex stuff, and now I'm just shocking them with this whole new side of me. What an anniversary present I've given them. I look over and see Carl hunched over, his horns pushing into the seat, his gaze focused blankly on the screen of his handheld. Upon closer inspection, the screen is completely blank. The device is no longer on. It seems that he's not in the best of states either. I swallow, debating disturbing him. Girl might be my best friend, but I don't really have deep talks. But we don't really have deep talks, especially since the lake incident. Maybe I could text someone? I slide my phone out of my pocket, staring at the blank screen, much like Carl is now. I realize when I get home, my parents are probably going to demand to see my phone and messages, so I'll have to remember to delete them. I try to imagine how each one of my friends would react, but this is honestly foreign ground. Only alluded to and traded insults and jokes. Flynn especially. The lizard drops the word faggot in every other sentence as of late, though I think he just chooses it for maximum edginess. Jasmine, on the other hand, might be the most supportive with this sort of thing. However, she wasn't in school today. I eavesdropped on Flynn mentioning something about issues with her parents and Jeremy to Leo, but I couldn't make out the specifics. I don't even know how Leo would react to any of this. He makes jokes about poofy stuff all the time, but I can tell there's some unease there. That leaves TJ. Carl described him once as the moral, gooey center of our sandwich of a group of friends. That being said, I'm not sure how much I can actually tell him. He's just barely crossing the puberty threshold right now. Plus the Christianity factor. I uncover one of my ears long enough to pull out my phone, my heart skipping a beat at the new voicemail notification. I quickly swipe over to my contacts.
Okay, so here, people want us to do Leo's because this will basically bring us right back around to this screen here minus Leo. But having him in, that's what everyone wanted. At least that's what I provided.
Okay.
So let's click Leo, confide with Leo first.
Leo always has a weird sort of parental vibe going on with him. If someone in our group is feeling down or about to make a stupid decision, he usually goes out of his way to set them straight. Jasmine says that this is largely due to the culture he comes from, the whole pack mentality thing. In truth, then, Leo is one of the first friends I made back when I was like 6. I'm sort of hoping time cuts through the stigma bullshit and he'll have an idea of what to do. My thumb pad hovers over his portrait picture in the messenger app. Alright, well, here goes nothing. I wonder if I shouldn't have done punctuation or capitalization. Maybe try to sound a little more casual?
Do you want to read the phone since...
Sure. Busy, but what?
Oh, no, I mean, you
Shit.
didn't read Chase's. I was going to read Leo's.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. So, can I talk to you for a second? Shit. He doesn't have to practice. He doesn't have practice today, so I thought he'd be free. Managing text messages with Leo is hard enough as it is, with him distracted. But with him distracted, it'd be even worse. Looks like I can't do it through here. I think I should talk to you about it in person.
I see. Okay.
God, he always does this. 2 to 3 word responses. He's probably still hanging out with the other football folk outside school. Lucky bastard has his own truck now, so he mostly doesn't come home with us anymore. I find myself biting the inside of my cheek and quietly forcing myself to stop. Quickly forcing myself to stop. Okay? I stare at my phone screen for a long while and eventually come to the conclusion that this is a waste of time. He doesn't seem to be in any hurry to respond now. I don't want to fuck up by badgering him with my whinging revelation that I apparently love cock while he'd rather be doing anything else. As the familiar landmarks of the railway and the red rock of Echo Canyon come into view out of the window, my restless anxiety returns. Steadying myself, I swipe back over to my contacts.
Okay, and that
So this is where we should confide in TJ,
that is correct.
Right? All right. I frown to myself as my thumbpad hovers over TJ's contact image on the Messenger app. I remember when the picture was taken. It was at the Yee Yaw Riverway. I had just gotten my cell phone and was asking everybody to pose for a picture. Leo took a real stoic, statuesque expression. Carl gave a dopey smile and made a peace sign. Jasmine put on her best sassy look. Flynn just stuck his weird forked tongue out. And TJ gave a proper polite smile, as if the idea of being silly didn't even occur to him. I guess in his mind, I'd made a request and he wasn't about to sully it. Or do something for a laugh. TJ takes friendship seriously, and I can't help but feel that it's a quality in someone that would be really nice to have by me right now. So, can we talk for a sec? I keep it vague at first. Dropping a bomb might just confuse him into thinking I'm making some sort of lewd joke.
Hey, Chase, what's happening? Happy Dia de los Muertos.
I am working through some bad stuff. I don't want to go home. Where are you? I feel a bit bad for not indulging in returning TJ's chipper mannerisms, but I just really don't have it in me right now.
Oh no, what happened? Mom picked me up, and we're finishing up my costume. She heard there was a party happening at the old Pearson's building on Route 65. We leave soon.
I didn't know parties happened around here outside of the backyard birthday stuff. I know TJ goes to a lot of different functions with his mom in his free time. He's kind of a popular kid, though pretty much all of them are based around church and community service activities. They're pretty much never in Echo, though. The only church we have in town is the old abandoned one from the Mormon Trail days. I think it turned into a school briefly during World War II, though it shut down soon after. The county tried to make it a tourist thing once, but it didn't work. Back when my parents still went to church, we had to drive all the way out to Peyton at 7 a.m. in the morning. I hated it and would whine and complain every time. Sometimes I carpooled with TJ. The vibe was completely different. They discussed Bible verses and talked about their weekly self-betterment goals. I think I remember getting in trouble because I kept calling everything dumb when I was in the car with them one morning. It was really cranky. After that, my parents made me ride with them. In contrast, my folks usually left on the talk radio, and we drove in silence.
Chase, you're making us kind of worried. You can meet us there if you want. I don't think you need an invitation.
I'm a bit worried that this party will just be another acoustic guitar arts and crafts with the elderly affair. But the more I think about it, the location strikes a tad weird to me. Weird like Parsons is sort of out in the boondocks of Echo, which is still technically the middle of goddamn nowhere. I'm not doing too great, but yeah, I'll meet you there. Or at any other time, I'd pass. Not tonight.
Are you okay, sweetie? I can come pick you up if you like. I'll call your mom, too, to let her know you're with us.
I'm a bit startled for a moment there at the whole sweetie thing before I realize what's happening. Oh, hi, Miss Hess. Could you please not do that? I'll see you and TJ at the party.
We just want to make sure you're okay. At least let us pick you up and drive you.
No, it's okay. I'm with Carl. Don't worry. It's just teenage awkwardness stuff.
Okay. Toby is learning all about that now. We had to buy him his first can of deodorant the other day. As an otter, you must be having an even harder time with all that, on account of the muskellans developing, don't you know? We could stop and buy you some demusking spray if you want.
Oh my god. I did not expect when I started texting TJ that 5 minutes later I'd be forced into a conversation about my musk glands with his mother. No, I'm good with my supply for now. Thanks. As the familiar landmarks of the railway and the Red Rock of Echo Canyon come into view out of the window, my restless anxiety returns again. Texting TJ and his mother did not help at all. I can see that we're approaching Carl's stop. The bus turns onto the neighborhood road, and I scoot over some, speaking up to get Carl's attention. So, I'm gonna get off with you here, okay? Carl just continues staring blankly at his screen for a second before blinking and looking back at me.
Are you sure? That might be pretty messy. And Karen watching might give me performance anxiety.
Carl stares deadpan at me. I rest my forehead into my paw and groan, though I end up snickering a bit. The bus comes to a stop.
Carl, this is where you get off.
Chase wants to get off too.
The bus.
You have a note from your folks?
Shit. I look back at Carl and he gives me a look of understanding. He unslings his backpack from his shoulder, rifling through it. Carl looks up at me briefly, mouthing the word stall. So, if we tell a joke, that might work, but if we ask about Keith, that will probably manipulate her into talking about somebody that she finds kind of interesting. Potentially. And that will probably get her to be interested in something else. So let's ask about Keith.
Ask about Keith.
I do. I make a motion of holding something up behind the seat. Carl seems to have found a pen and notepad and is scribbling hastily. So, Karen, you mentioned your son Keith. The name sounds familiar. Karen gives me a rather dubious look, her silver gaze eyeing me up.
Well, I doubt you have recently. Keith's been gone for a good year or so now.
Where did he go? Karen scratches the end of her muzzle, still eyeing me with the same searching expression.
He's dead. Dead to me, at least.
Oh. Sorry. Definitely not going to prod there. Carl currently looks as if he's trying to camouflage into his seat, slowly sliding down it.
It's alright.
The old fox lets out a huff that is half exasperated, half amused. She waves dismissively.
You squirts gonna exit the bus or not? I got a big old bowl of cinnamon chips and pineapple mango salsa waiting for me back at home.
I shift awkwardly in my seat. Out of the corner of my eye, something yellow flutters down by my feet. With haste, I bend down and scratch up the note. Acting as nonchalant as possible, Carl's penmanship is actually pretty good. I give him a discreet, grateful look as he gets up and moves to the exit. I'm coming. Carl stops, looking back at me with the same deadpan as before. On Carl's back. To the front of the bus. I think I hear Carl mutter, "That's quite some range," as he turns and continues offward. Carl hops off first, his hooves making an audible clop noise upon the aged asphalt. However, as I follow and move to hand my note to Karen, her calloused hand grasps my wrist instead of the note.
I'm not that deaf and dumb, Kitty. I've been doing this job a long while.
She relinquishes my wrist, the note fluttering to the ground. I can feel Carl staring nervously at us from the road.
I appreciate your curiosity. Keith and I live down in Colville, so doubt you'd know him. He made some seriously questionable decisions regarding his amorous pursuits. Things I could not abide by.
She shifts some in her large driver's seat. The cadence of her voice changing some as she looks to the back of the bus.
I saw you back there, puffy-eyed and trembling.
Oh, no.
You afraid of going out? Are you afraid of something at home? I know how the people can be out here.
I'm frozen, feeling the tips of my ears burn rosy at today's endless cavalcade of embarrassment. She pauses, bending down to pick up the dropped note and tossing it in the bus's trash bucket.
Especially with kids.
I'm not sure what she means by that, and definitely I am not sure what to say. I look back at Carl. He's averting his gaze now, his paws deep in his hoodie pockets.
Alright, I get it. Nobody trusts a hick bus driver to know what it's like to be a kid these days. Look, run along now. Sorry for, grabbing you. I'm used to them shits Jeremy and Clint doing that and getting me in trouble.
I try hard and force a smile. Oh, thanks. I appreciate your concern and all. Yeah, they are plenty shitty.
Hey, language, kiddo.
Oh, sorry. They're fucking assholes.
Oh!
I was expecting you to be like, "That's better." All right, sorry.
Also, tell Carl his fly is down. He looks like a damn fool.
I see Carl stiffen, quickly reaching down and fumbling with his zipper. His neon orange Super Wolf boxer is visible through his fly. Karen just sighs. I feel my phone vibrate in my pocket.
See you squirts on Monday.
I step off the bus beside Carl. And the door is shut behind me, Karen heading back towards the freeway. It gets dark so much earlier now that summer is over. Echo isn't exactly a major township. The area is deemed a census-designated place, so we don't get street lamps. Carl watches the bus fade off into the distance before pulling out his phone.
Can't wait until I get my own car and license.
Don't worry, Carl. You'll probably end up driving into something. He starts texting.
Letting my parents know that you're coming over. Maybe we should we should troll around on that 3D virtue chat game again tonight. I spent some money and got myself this bag. Luchador Avra, or Big Luchador Avatar. Except I gave him big old breasts. He's called Mama Ria.
He looks up at me with a smirk before turning and walking. How much did you spend? I'm follow, pulling out my phone.
It's
Uh,
really no trouble, Chase. You and Toby's other little friends in your group are like family to us. You mean a great deal to Toby, especially Toby too, especially after everything that happened.
Dots.
I go for it, Toby. Dots.
Oh, I I never had the opportunity to properly thank you. You all have been so brave, and your visits to Toby afterwards meant so much, Chase.
I don't know. I was just grabbing what I needed. $15, maybe? I'm fucking rich. Come on. You think I count money?
I refocus briefly, glancing over towards Carl. That's a lot for one of those kind of games, especially just for clothing.
We haven't seen you much since you and your parents stopped going to church so much, but we'd love to have you over for dinner sometime.
Well, like, the luchador mask I wanted was one of the premium items, so it costed the most. Everything else was dirt cheap. Every single girl in that game uses the same hair. The long, curly blonde one that costs like $1. At least, they say they're girls. I'm just trying to be unique, otherwise, what's the point? It is a social role-playing game, why risk getting ignored? I actually have another account with a character that is more normal looking. I made him after you left last time. He's like this big primate looking dude with burn marks everywhere and this kind of albino-y face. I had the idea for the character based off of a dream I had once. This guy named Batista, running around, acting like a guy named Drax. He had two big knives, and he was fighting people.
Whoa.
Though I do have one quick question for you, Chase. Do you know how to delete messages on this thing? I'd rather not Toby know that I mentioned the incident. He's been doing so well lately.
What the?
Anyway, I went to a lot in the in-game hotspots at first. A lot of the stuff you and I saw when we were messing around, it's sort of like you said, that most people there are just middle-aged housewives who can barely type a sentence. But then I sort of went off-grid, I guess you'd call it.
For this messenger app, you go back to the contact screen, hold over my contact name, and press delete conversation history.
Like, the spots that aren't advertised on the destination finder. I started finding a lot of weird shit. Like, weirder than the shit we were making ironically, yeah? There was this, there were these places which looked like more real-life houses, not the usual fantasy exotic stuff. Just people living in virtual families in these boring-ass looking homes, complete with framed photos of screenshots of their characters. I got the impression that a lot of them were, like, foreign. I walked into this one flat with these two horse ladies in it. They had decorations with Middle Eastern words everywhere, but they seemed normal enough. They had a TV item which just displayed a slideshow of Photoshop pictures of them with a baby. When I started exploring the house, I ended up walking into this nursery room and they got really busy. I thought about trolling, and writing, "I ate the baby!" and hopping up and down on the crib, but I don't know. It just felt like this weird mix of awkward and sad.
Thank you, Chase. I'll be dropping Toby off at the old Parsons manufacturing building on Route 65 in a bit. I hope you feel better soon. Kisses.
Dots. Chase? You fucking listening? Am I just talking to the fucking sky moon?
Carl is standing in front of me with a concerned expression on his face. It takes me a moment to respond. Yeah, just texting TJ. Or, well, his mom.
Nice!
Dude. I look up the street. Carl's house is sitting in its amber, glowy glory atop this hill slope. Apparently, there's a party happening tonight. Carl raises an inquisitive brow. You can barely see under his hoodie.
Like, here or in general?
I'm not sure what you mean by in general, but yeah, around here in Echo. TJ got invited. Guessing it's for Day of the Dead?
What? He didn't mention it to me at all. And I asked him to his face if he was doing anything tonight.
I shrug. Well, you aren't really the type for social events. Carl shifts upon his hooves, his posture faltering.
Yeah, but it is weird that he wouldn't mention it. That sounds about like the most exciting thing that will happen around here for months.
Carl looks off to the side, shifting his posture some.
I'd rather just stay home and play Virtue with you anyway. But seriously, a party in Echo? Can't be for some churchy thing in this land of heathens.
Well, it's at the Parsons Manufacturing Building on Route 65.
That's sort of in the ass end of nowhere for a party, too. Maybe it's like a rave or something.
A mental image of DJ in neon hot pants with glow sticks and a rave whistle comes to mind. Which is weirdly kind of hot. Yeah, I don't think TJ is in the trance and techno type.
Maybe he just wants to get his, satisfaction! Satisfaction!
Carl says this in a robotic voice. He smiles, his eyes half lidded. I groan. I think I should go.
Oh, Dots!
Carl blinks, his expression akin to as if I just asked to rub his horns.
Dude.
He lets out a sort of huff, rubbing the back of his head.
First of all, this is a TJ party we're talking about. Second, it's in the middle of nowhere. Third, isn't Day of the Dead for, like...
He pulls his paw away from his beanie long enough to swirl it around in gesticulation as he tries to phrase this right.
Latin folk? My blood's as apple pie as it gets, dude.
Alright. First, we can play your handheld if it turns out to be boring and religious. Though the idea of trying to come out to TJ amongst the fundy Christian type is a nightmare. Second, we live in the middle of nowhere. Anything local happening is technically in the middle of nowhere. Which still doesn't make it any more safe. Third, well, I don't know. I assume nothing too culturally sensitive is taking place in an abandoned factory? which won't save us from sticking out like a sore thumb, including TJ. Carl exhales through flared nostrils, lolling his head up as if being throttled by how much of a bad idea this is.
Dude.
He looks back at me, taut frown upon his muzzle.
I don't know. I guess I'm kinda curious. Worst case, we stop in, smack TJ around, and then make like Flynn's fetish and scat.
Best case, we stop in, smack TJ around, and then have food.
I'll rip your tail off for a cheese quesadilla right now.
Don't do that. I finally stowed my phone in my pocket. You think Flynn is actually into that sort of thing, or is that just a running joke? I mean, you mentioned his cloaca, or whatever, near daily.
Dude, he's totally into that. I bet he's one of those septic suckers. Ew.
Yeah, that's nasty. Every fiber of my being does not want to know what that is. I give Carl a repulsed look.
I read about it on the image boards. You know the septic tanks, right?
Oh no, Carl hangs out on 4chan. Of course Carl would hang out on 4chan.
Of course he would be.
Yeah, he's a channer. He's a 2 words that I cannot say that 4chaners used to call themselves.
So one of them, Chris.
I will summarize it by saying one is sort of similar to Nigeria, and the other one is a word for gay people that is not in vogue and hasn't been for a very, very, very long time and is offensive. That's what they used to call themselves. Something. My good. And they called themselves that because it was the most offensive thing they could think of. Just to give you an idea of how fortunate it works.
Oh, they're all extremely right wing.
I think they're just dorks on the internet.
Just being highly offensive just for fun.
Yeah, they think being super offensive is fun and edgy. It's one of those things you sort of grow out of.
It's like
you're a teenager and you're like in your 20s and you think being edgy is cool, especially if you haven't had relationships yet.
edgelord.com.
You have relationships and you have relationships and people are just like, dude, if you keep acting like this, I'm dumping.
Yeah, stop
your
acting
ass.
like a
Then they
5-year-old.
sort of
It's not
shape
funny.
up. Yeah, stop acting like a teenager. You're 20,
Or 30.
and then they usually shape up, or they get dumped.
And then they shape up. Because now they have a new emotion to deal with.
yeah. Then a lot of them they see this and they're just like, oh, so my behavior is directly making you feel bad, and I care about and love you. Cool. I have to choose. Does the pleasure of engaging in this behavior, is that more important to me than my relationship? And then that sort of gives you a good idea of what kind of person they are.
Yeah.
Do they have empathy for the people that they're dating or not?
Yeah. Do they value relationships at all? Or do they not?
Or if you want, on a more interesting level, do they see a problem with causing other people pain? Needless pain? Because if the answer is they don't care, probably shouldn't be anywhere near them. You should probably get away from them as fast as possible.
Yeah, that sounds really bad.
Yeah, that's not good. All right. Stop right there, criminal scum.
They drill holes in people's tanks while they aren't home and lower a rope down through.
Carl.
And then they climb down in. The solid breaking stuff in the tanks makes everything super sticky. So they literally stick to the tank walls like a suction cup.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And then they take this chisel and use their tongue on the...
Carl, I'm gonna beat your ass.
Honestly, it all sounds more favorable than going to a church party.
Carl puts on a look of casual deadpan. Meanwhile, I'm trying not to gag up my macaroni salad from lunch. I don't think it's a church thing.
Yeah, neither do I. Alright, I'll go with you.
Carl lets out a brief, breathy bit of laughter before pulling out his phone. Lying to your parents' time?
Yep, your fault too. What should I say?
I mean, if we say it's at our house, they're probably gonna call our parents.
Yeah,
If we say we're hanging out at Leo's, Leo still lives with his parents, I assume at this point, because he's in high school.
probably. So they're going to call them
So
up.
they're gonna call Leo's parents.
And having all this history, they're
So-
probably going to have each other's numbers. So,
Yes. Say we're working on an art project, they're gonna ask, well, where are you working on the art project? And they'll be like, well, why aren't you working on it like at home in the basement or something? I mean, bring Carl on over. I mean, bring Chase on over. I don't know how much his parents trust him. And he kind of seems like an idiot. But he's a teenager, so that's kind of expected. You know, it's like I've been
seems like
I've
an
been
idiot.
like 24, yeah, I've been like 24, 26 years removed from this mindset.
Carl's a little bit stupid. You heard it here from
Yeah.
Fenmure. Carl's a little bit
He
stupid.
hasn't- I don't think he's suffered consequences from his actions yet.
Probably not.
But his parents probably know that he lies a bunch, so.
Now, honestly, this could be an art project because he's going to a party. He could just be trying to learn the party aesthetic, so maybe he's not lying so much. There's an element of truth.
No. We're going to Dias de la Muertos with TJ. And we're going way more into this than I think Carl is. But we're going there with TJ, and TJ's probably going to put some art makeup on us. So, you know.
And
hey,
Carl's gonna
maybe it'll
look
work out.
fabulous.
He is going to look fabulous. He's going to have like eyeshadow on. He's going to look like a dead person. It's going to be great.
He's looking like he came right
Yeah,
out
tell
of The
him that you're-
Corpse Bride or Nightmare Before Christmas or some other Tim Burton movie.
You know
Oh,
it.
yeah.
All right. Tell them that you're working on an art
Art
project.
project.
Carl texts something into his phone before moving along in the opposite direction we were walking before. I'm honestly surprised he accepted. His social anxiety is pretty bad at school. Maybe it's just kind of... Maybe it's just that kind of night.